Hey, we're live on a Sunday. So I wanted to cover a couple of things in this brief little live stream. One is I wanted to show you kind of my initial evaluation of this Singer 401A from the great state of New York, and it came from Sibel Gill. And Sibel, if you don't remember her, she's the one that had a machine purchase. The person that shipped it ended up packing it incredibly poorly, and then ended up kind of stepping out into the light and apologizing to all of us for the poor packing, saying that it was his first machine that he'd ever sold and shipped and didn't know how to pack it. So he was really grateful for the feedback that I gave when I did that unboxing for her. But this other machine that we're going to kind of do an initial evaluation of is a 1961 Singer 401A. The 401A, and I'll kind of take the camera and point it that way. The 401A was made in it was made in Anderson, South Carolina. And the 401A was made from around 1956 until 1961. Now, recently, I did notice a post within a Facebook group. I won't name what group it is, but they had said the Cow Country guy gave brackets for the Slant-o-matic machines, but there's no way to specifically date the Slant-o-matic machines. That's not correct, and I never said that. I gave brackets, and the bracket again for the 401A is 1956 until 1961. And what they used is typically a two-letter prefix on serial numbers so that you could narrow down the machine date more closely. Nothing wrong with a bracket in saying that the machine was made somewhere between 1956 and 1961, but we can get a lot closer than that. And if you've got a Slant-o-matic, or you're maybe going to acquire one and you're like, well, I don't see any serial plate on the front of the machine. You know, if you look at the Slant-o-matic, there's no serial plate over here like you would typically see on a Singer machine. There's no serial plate underneath the edge of the bed like on some machines. So where the heck is the serial number on this Slant-o-matic? Well, the Slant-o-matic serial numbers are going to be right underneath the end of the bed, and I'll show you exactly. Right here is where you'll find the Slant-o-matic serial numbers. That'll zero in. So you can see the serial number on this machine that belongs to Sibel is NC055840. And I can tell you that the NC prefix was the last prefix that Singer used in the 401 series machines. So we know it's going to be right at the tail end of the manufacturing window that they made the 401As in at Anderson, South Carolina production plant. So how do we get a more specific date? Well, let me show you. It's really quite simple. It's quite simple if my camera will reach all the way over there, that is. I hope it does. Cool, it does. Wow. Nice. So the thing I wanted to show you is not the audio library that we're listening to right now. If you've got a Slant-o-matic machine and you're wanting to date it more specifically, the search that I typed in to find what I was looking for is simply dating a Singer Slant-o-matic. And when I typed in dating a Singer Slant-o-matic, I came up with these choices right here. And the first one I'm going to pick, I can't see my screen from here, so I hope I have the camera angled right. Hold on a second. Getting all kinds of goofy reflections there. Hold on. The only thing I don't like about webcams is they have a little bit of trouble focusing. So at any rate, hopefully you can see it. if you can, I'll change the camera angle again. I used dating a Singer Slant-o-matic, and then I am going to choose this one right here. It's called Singer301.com dating your Singer 301. And what you're going to notice is they give us a lot more than that. They do a good job of breaking out. That's as far as I can reach it. They do a good job of breaking out all of the series machines from the Slant-o-matic series, from the 301 to 301A, 401A, 403A, 404, 500A, and the 503A as well. Let's see if that helps a little bit. If we scroll down, you're going to see here they have a general breakout of the Singer years of issue for the Slant-o-matic series. And this covers more than just the 401. This is going to cover a number of the models that were made within the Slant-o-matic series. So we can see right away a prefix of NA is going to indicate 1951. That's going to be the very first series. NB is 1956. NC is 1961. And we know that our serial number for Sibel's 401A starts with NC. So it's going to tell us that that machine was made in the very final series of the 401s made in Anderson, South Carolina, and it was made in 1961. Now, if you scroll down further, you're going to see even additional breakouts. They're going to give you some more information that's kind of interesting, such as here, they're going to be talking about the NA series that was made in 1951. They issued 1 million serial numbers. Actually, they issued 1 million serial numbers for each of these groupings, the 1951, the 1956, and the 1961. So with that in mind, we can conclude that over the period that they made these machines from 1951 until 1961, a full decade, they made about 3 million of the Slant-o-matic machines. And again, that's more than just the 401A. That's all the other series machines as well that receive those prefixes. If you scroll down further, they do additional breakout. They actually show you the serial number breakout for the machines as well. This particular breakout is for the 301 from 1951 to 1957. Here is the 401A, which is our machine that we're going to be looking at today. And they show you the breakout starting all the way back in 1956, all the way to 1961. And again, they're showing a grand total of the 401As that were made between 1956 and 1961 being 1 million models. That's a lot of machines, even though it's a 10-year period. About 100,000 machines a year, I think, is what that would break out to be. And finally, they go into the 403A series. Look at my screen. Yeah, the 403A series. And going way back, going way back to our fundraiser we did for the History Museum, the 403A is one of the machines that I donated that folks could make a donation for to get it. And the 403A is the one that went to Roz out in Michigan. I also gave away a 401A, which eventually is going to make its way out to Paula Noel out in the great state of Florida. And then I also gave a 404 away. Here we're looking at the 404 series numbers right here. And you can see that the 404 was made from 1958 until 1963. They're not giving a, let's see, grand total. They're giving a little bit less than 500,000 machines were made from 58 to 63. So they were pretty hot and heavy on that machine. That's a straight stitch only Slant-o-matic. And that one, Craig and Sonny made a bid on, dating all the way back to that History Museum fundraiser we did. And that one was already shipped out to Sonny, and she loves it. She loves that machine so much. So they were really aggressive about producing that machine, considering they made almost 500,000 in just a period of 59, 60, 61, 62, about 5 years. We have the 500A, which is seldom seen It's not one that pops up very often. I think I presented one of them so far on this channel, and I think that one went back out to West Virginia or something like that. And you can see with this series, it was manufactured from 61 to 63, so just a short period of time, about two years. They made about 400,000 of them. And we've got the 503A, and the 503A is another machine that I donated back at that fundraiser for the History Museum. That one was won by our gal from Florida. I forget, was it? I think it was Emma or Maddie. One of those two ladies won it. I don't recall which one won it, because that's going back, and that's shame on me for not having these machines done yet, but I've just been too busy. But the 503A, again, was a pretty short manufacturing run, just like the 500A. It was made from 61 to 63. They made about 300,000 of them from 61 to 63. And there again, you can see the serial number breakout. Specifically, if you've got one of these models within the Slant-o-matic family, you can look it up by serial number and know specifically the year that your machine was made. And then down here, they just have a kind of a totality breakout of all the different models that were made within the Slant-o-matic family. But at any rate, I don't want to spend too much time staring at this screen, which you probably can't see very well anyway. But my point in showing this to you is that the information that we find on Facebook is sometimes great, sometimes it's way off. And someone, again, had posted, Scott gave us brackets for Slant-o-matics, but we can't know the actual date. I'm dispelling that inaccuracy again, because you can by going to this page. And again, it's singer301.com/dating. singer301.com/dating. Hopefully you can see that. My monitor is like halfway across the room, so I'm just kind of pointing it in that direction. But it's good to know the dating of machines. I think it's good to know if you've got a first edition machine. It's good to know if you've got a last edition machine. I think both of them are equally cool to own. And Sibel out of Brooklyn, New York, has a last edition Singer 401A that was made in Anderson, South Carolina. So there you go. Now you know the rest of this story. And you know, it's okay to, if you're looking at the machine like this and you're going, oh my gosh, it's okay to lay a Slant-o-matic like this, because it's just resting against the bottom of the base and the balance wheel. There's nothing that's going to get bent. There's nothing that's going to get damaged resting a machine like this. And it's ridiculously stable too, so it's not going to tip over on you either, which is great. But when I get a machine in, I try to do an initial evaluation of it. One of the big things I noticed about this Slant-o-matic right away, and I'll bring it back down to a resting position, now that we know it's from 1961, a final edition of the 401A that was made in Anderson, South Carolina. So I try to do an initial evaluation. One of the things I try to evaluate, assuming there's no frayed wiring or anything like that, I try to evaluate what kind of power the machine has. And one of the things Sibel told me is, I've watched your 401A, Scott. They're monsters. They've got the biggest motor out of any of the Slant-o-matic machines that were ever made. It peaks at 1 amp. What's wrong with mine? Well, we don't know the answer to that yet, but I can show you what it's doing right now. So I've already got it plugged in. I'm going to move the foot controller right over here, kind of angle it down a little bit so you can kind of watch the needle. Yeah, you can watch the needle and the foot controller at the same time. And I'm going to push the button all the way down, pedal to the metal, and we'll see what we get. Matter of fact, I'm going to shut off my heater as well, so it's very quiet in the workshop. There we go. So I'm going to push this all the way down. Now, one of the first things that and when you have a machine that's laboring like this, I don't want to do the test too long because it's obviously putting a huge amount of strain on the motor right now. The motor is doing its best. It's trying to turn this machine over, but it's not able to do it. So what's holding it back? What do you think is holding this machine back? We can narrow it down by taking away the balance wheel factor and the fact that it's turning the main shaft right now. So somewhere between the balance wheel and the needle bar, somewhere between there, if there's something that's holding it back, if there's something that's out of alignment, if there's something that's crimped, if there's something that's super bone dry, then we can right away narrow it down to this field of the machine by taking that balance wheel factor away. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And conveniently, Sibel's machine came with no set screw in it, so I can just set the camera down and I can take this off very easily after I put some more music on. Oh, where's my music? Audio track unavailable. That's not true. Aha. Oh, I should say hi to everybody first, too. Oh, hi, Emma. Hi, Kevin and Doreen. And hi, Mary. Hi, Mary from Washington State. Good to see you guys. I just decided to do this. I didn't announce this live stream or anything like that. So I love that you guys took time out of your busy Sunday to join me. So let's just take this stop action clutch off. And what we're looking for once we do this, we're looking to see whether or not the speed of the machine all of a sudden jumps up dramatically. If it does, then we know it's most likely an issue between or beyond, I should say, beyond the balance wheel down to the needle bar. So let me kind of take this off. Kind of watch that part as you take it off. See, it kind of plops off. I can tell you one thing, the machine is filthy. I don't know if you can see that in the shot or not, but that's all buildup on that clutch release. So nasty, nasty, nasty. And then this just slides right off straight away. Oh my gosh, that is just, woo! This is going to require a lot of deep cleaning, and that may be part of our problem. You can look into here. I'll shine my light in there as well. You can see it more easily. Very, very yucky in there. But what we're looking to do now, and I'm going to pause this music, is we're waiting. Hold on a second. There we go. We're going to push on the foot controller again and listen for the speed of the motor, see if it picks up significantly. If it doesn't, then we can narrow it all the way down to the motor. Then we got a motor issue, which could be brushes. It could be something more significant than that. And I'll actually move the camera a little bit, and I'll tilt the machine a little bit so you can actually see that worm gear. And the 401s consistently had a metal worm drive gear coming off of the top of the tower motor, which, I mean, that sucker's never going to wear out. I think you can kind of see it in there. All right, so let me push on the foot controller again. Let's see if we get more gusto out of the machine now. That's still nowhere close to full power. Slide the balance wheel back on again. Kind of back that camera up a little bit. I don't have enough room for my hand. That's just so gummed up on there. Even getting it to thread on is an effort. So let's hit that gas pedal again and see if we can gauge speed, because then I'm going to do something to the top of the machine. So when we're driving that main shaft, this is all the way down. Let's go all the way out to there. I'm not smelling the motor getting hot. It needs a lot of cleaning, a lot of servicing, a lot of optimization. But I'm gonna hit one area that typically creates issues on these Slant-o-matics. And if yours is less than stellar as far as power, it may be the problem on your machine as well. So let's do this. Hold on a second. I've already loosened these two bolts on top. We've got a bolt right there and a bolt right there. So we're going to pull the top of this machine off. Oh, I tightened them up again. I was so dutiful because I wanted to demonstrate unscrewing them apparently. All right, let's try this again. And again, if you weren't at the live stream at the beginning, Sibel out of Brooklyn, New York, Sibel Gill out of New York is the one that had that machine that she purchased, and it was shipped to the workshop, and the person did a horrible job, but was courageous and brave enough to step out and apologize for it publicly. And some of you actually interacted with this individual, which I thought was really kind of cool. So now we're going to take the lid off. That's the worm gear that you were seeing from the other side spinning up. And you can see the way this works with the Slant-o-matics is why they're direct drive. There's interlacing gears off of this worm gear that comes off the stack of the motor. It's a towers type motor that's mounted vertically. And then you've got interlacing worm gears, and they mesh together here. And that's what allows you to turn that main shaft without any belt. There's no belt on the Slant-o-matics. Actually, brilliant engineering, very, very good engineering. But you can see how slow it's moving, and we're all the way down. So let me grab some of my lubrication. Let's hit a couple spots and see if we can impact the speed factor of this, which is also going to take a lot of that load off of that motor right now that's laboring. Now, one of the most key lubrication points on the Slant-o-matics is going to be this hole right here. Not this one. This is what the lid is going to screw into. This one down here. And a lot of people will miss this lubrication point on the Slant-o-matics. So I'm going to put a couple drops of my oil into there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple on here as well. That also tends to dry out on these machines. 1 or 2 there. Kind of let that settle in for just a second. I've also got another lubrication point on the opposite end of the main shaft right here. Going to drop about 3 to 4 drops in there. Let that kind of soak down in there. And as we power the machine up, it'll kind of suck that stuff down. Now, I'm going to be greasing these worm gears right here that you can see. I think you can see those. Yeah. Right there is kind of what I'm trying to show you. But just temporarily, it's not going to hurt it at all. I'm going to put a couple drops of oil on those as well. That should give us a good idea of whether or not it's a drag lubrication issue. Let's see what happens. I'm going to pause the music again. All right, we're going to hit the same gas pedal. Let's see if we get any difference. We might not get any difference. It might be motor related, but we might see a sudden spike up on power. I hope we do. That'd be great. Make sure that's okay. That's all good. Here we go. It's very, very slightly faster, but not much. Not much. So in all likelihood, we've got some issues going on with the engine, the motor, in being able to turn all of the mechanics between the balance wheel and the needle itself. Yeah, that's still only a fraction. It's only a fraction of the power that we should be getting from this 401A. The other thing we can try to do, and there's no guarantee, but we can also, and I try to do this just to save a little bit of time in assessing the machine, but we can also hit the machine with some heat as well to see if that will also loosen this up. Now, the problem that we're running into is that a lot of the mechanics are also on the bottom of the machine that we haven't done a thing to yet to try to bolster up that power. But some of that heat is going to work its way down the pillar to the lower shafts and gears down below, and that may help us out a little bit. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to give that a try as well. Before I do that, because we're going to be using a hair dryer, I'm going to go ahead and remove this cam, which is plastic, so that I don't hit that with 300 or 400 degrees and maybe warp it. So now we have pretty much all metal and wiring where we can hit that with some pretty intense heat and see whether or not that's going to give us greater speed. Right now, again, even after adding some extra lubricant to some key areas, we're only getting this. It's better. It's better than it was, but it's still nowhere close to what we should be getting. So let me grab a hair dryer. And a hair dryer is a Band-Aid assessment approach. Oh, you know what I am seeing now? I don't know if you can see it or not. We may not even need to do this. I'm going to do it anyway, but we may not need to do it because what I just saw, and you probably couldn't see it in the shot, is I saw some light plumes of smoke coming up right from the pillar area just below where the motor is. See if I can duplicate that again. I don't know if this camera is going to be able to pick it up. My eyes could see it very clearly. Let this run for a little bit. Yep, there it goes again. Can you see that smoke on the camera? So we've got a motor that it's most likely the motor issue, but let me see if I can hit it with a little bit of heat and see if we can reduce the drag and if that will free this motor up. And it might simply be that there's so much drag on the motor right now that it's just causing it to overheat. And you might be saying, well, wait a second, if it's overheating, why are we going to add heat to it to break down some of that varnishing that's probably holding it back and causing it to run so labored? Let's give it a try and see what happens. Okay. Move this over there. And where I'm going to be targeting the heat is straight down the pillar where the motor is. And I'll actually be running the motor a little bit while I'm doing this to see if I can loosen it up. Usually about 3 to 4 inches away. Now I'm kind of moving the heat down the main shaft as well. Usually when it's a gumming up issue, you're going to get a much quicker response. And right now, a little bit better movement. You can see, look at the take-up arm and the speed that it's moving compared to where we started. It's turning over with a little bit less labor, but we're still nowhere close. So my conclusion at this point is that, yeah, it's a filthy machine. Yes, it needs to be deep cleaned. Yes, it needs to be serviced from bobbin the balance wheel. But the issue is motor centered because we took the drag off of the motor and we still got a very slow turn. Now we did a couple things to it since we last tried that. We added the heat, we added some extra lubrication. One last thing I'll do is I'll take the balance wheel off again and we'll try firing the machine up and see whether or not we get any noticeable increase in the revolutions of the motor. But I'm guessing that it's going to be a motor centered issue, which could also tie into the wiring as well, which I'll be evaluating. So try this one more time and just see if, without any drag of the main shaft, just with the motor, just with that worm gear, whether or not we're going to get any higher revolutions from that motor. Nowhere close to top speed, but it is picking up a little bit. Now we're still getting smoke off of there. Can you hear that fluttering on it? It's trying so hard. It's trying so hard to press past the barrier that's holding it back right now. This machine has grit and determination. And even though it's being hindered right now, it's trying to break past that boundary. I'm going to give it a little bit of an assist, just a tiny little bit of an assist, and see if this helps it a little bit. I would guesstimate that we're getting about 40 to 45% of the motor power right now at that spin up. It's gone up from, we were probably in the 30s before. You can also hear some metal to metal as well. All right, that's enough. I've wanted to push the motor a little bit just to see if we can get it to break free, but it's still obviously struggling a lot. So I'm going to have to take the bottom of the machine off, pull that motor out, and then tear that motor apart because right now it's only generating, I mean, if even close to 50% of what it should be. And when you got a 401A, you want to kick butt with it because it's the again the biggest motor in the Slant-o-matic series. And I've got 404s, 403s, 503s, et cetera, that would just blow this out of the water right now. And that's not the way it should be. So a lot of other things I'll be evaluating on the machine as well as I go through it. But I wanted to kind of let you into the workshop and give you at least a glimpse. When a customer specifically points to something as an issue, I try to look at that and evaluate that first. Power issues with this 401A right now, some significant power issues. We've kind of eliminated the likelihood that it's strictly a gumming up issue between the balance wheel and following down the main shaft by taking the balance wheel and the clutch and everything off, so that all we're doing is just spinning the motor up with no load. That didn't solve it. Some of the lubrication helped a little bit, but we still aren't anywhere close to full power with this machine. So I should look at comments real quick. I'm missing comments. Oh, hey, how you doing, Roz? Good to see you. Roz and Emma. I think I said hi to everybody else. So, but again, a fabulous. That's a good question. I don't know if Sibel is the original owner or not, Roz. This is a project that I've kind of had on the back burner for a little bit because I've been trying to catch up on some other ones. I can reach out to her out in Brooklyn and ask her whether or not this is something that's been in the family. I don't have anything in my notes. Let me check my notes again. I don't have anything in my notes that indicates that that it's an original owner machine within the family. And this is the same customer that had also had someone ship a Singer 5830C, 5830C that arrived just busted up big time to the workshop. So uh, that one she ended up getting a full refund on from the seller. They did just a horrible job of packing it. This one hopefully uh, doesn't have any damage once I start taking parts off and everything. But the badge is beautiful. Yeah, it really is. Take a closer look at that. I think one of the things I really like about it is that black band on the outside that kind of frames it out. That really seems to make it pop, doesn't it? So again, this machine is from 1961. It is the last focus. It is the last series of 401As in that group that Singer made in Anderson, South Carolina. So it's a last edition. We've had first editions on the channel. Uh, Sometimes we get last editions, sometimes we don't, but this is definitely in that final series. And overall, the movement, this is sometimes an area as well that'll get a lot of gumming up on it. Right now, other than adjusting it, because this is kind of loosey-goosey right here, which is an issue inside of here. But right now, the movement of these is generally, it's really quite good. Usually when I get these 401As in, these knobs are almost like somebody cemented them or super glued them. They're just horrible. And again, if you don't know a lot about 401As, they're such a cool machine. And I was recently talking with Emma down in Florida, and she said, I've got one of those, and I love it because it's got that built-in cam stack right here. So I can always put a cam on it like that, but I don't need to. I can get a ton of stitches by just adjusting these 2 points and generate just a ton of stitches from the machine. So that's part of the reason people love this machine, along with the bigger motor as well. This one you just push in, the brown one you push in, and then you can move it up and down. This one you pull, the white one you pull out, and then you can adjust that to select your stitching. This is a stitch width and also needle position as well. Stitch length. If you want to sew in reverse, move it all the way to the top. And again, the cool thing about the Slant-o-matics, and Roz is part of this. Actually, Roz and Emma are part of this right now. And Roz, again, is going to be getting a 403A eventually. Paula's going to get a 401A. And then Emma or Maddie? Oh gosh, I always confuse those two. But one of those two ladies is going to get a 503A. I think it's Maddie. I'm 99% sure it's Maddie. But the cool thing about these machines is that they don't have a feed dog drop. They've got a throat plate raiser. So as you push this lever, it pushes that throat plate up. So you can reduce the pull of the feed dogs, or you can slide this out of the way and actually clean underneath without having to take screws or bolts out. It's that simple. And a lot of people like that feature as well, because it's just a matter of, you can see this one is gummed up in there right now because it's not popping back down. And these also have the convenience of the drop-in bobbin, which a lot of folks love. But this is a machine that has endless possibilities. They also were really thoughtful with this model. They put that threading diagram right inside of the faceplate, which a lot of folks love the convenience of that. You don't have to pull out an owner's manual. Shows you how to orientate the thread when you drop the bobbin in as well. So just a fabulously well thought out machine. It truly is. And metal throughout. Even back in 1961, when this final group of 401s were being made in Anderson, South Carolina, they still had not compromised standards in engineering this machine. It was still all metal. They hadn't taken that path down towards the plastic trail like a lot of the companies had by the time they were moving into the late 1950s, early 1960s. So we'll see what else I find. But right now we absolutely have a motor issue that I think I can mitigate. I'll have to pull that all apart, disassemble the motor. You guys have seen me do that before. And if you decide to tackle one of these motors that's in a Slant-o-matic, just be aware you're going to need some specialized tools to take that motor apart. It's got a lot of. Let me actually show you one of the pieces you'll need. Oh, way across there. You'll need a set of these if you're going to tear the motor apart, because there's a number of snap rings on that motor assembly near the top of the stack, and as you kind of follow the stack down, you got to take off a number of snap rings in order to pull those pieces apart and get, dig into that motor. And these are readily available anywhere. Some of you being go-getters, you probably already have something like this in your tools to tinker on your machines. But really a great tool. And prior to these coming out, folks were using hammers and screwdrivers to kind of pop that ring up, and they usually would bend it. So this is a great innovation to allow us to be able to tinker on our machines a little bit more. Oh, thanks. Roz is such a sweetheart. She's like, no rush, man. No rush. I know you're busy. I've got my Japanese clone. I've got Florenzia as well. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Plus probably Roz has a ton more machines as well. But at any rate, thanks for joining me for this live stream. Again, I didn't announce it, and I'm glad that you got notification that that I was doing it. But it gives you an initial glimpse, and also that way you can kind of watch on the radar as those progress shots pop up as I try to put up on Facebook, showing the different things I'm doing to this machine. And then eventually, won't it be great for you to be able to join for that premiere and watch this machine just blast, where right now it's just running, super sluggish, running better than it was. But yeah, we're still nowhere near the power that a 401A should have. So with that, I hope you have a great rest of the Sunday. If you're a Rams fan, you can watch them battle the Green Bay Packers later today at Lambeau Stadium, which is only, if you didn't know it, maybe you already know it, but if you didn't know it, Lambeau Stadium, where the Packers have all of their home games, is only about 25 miles from the workshop. So if you're ever in this area and your home team is, challenging the Packers and it's at Lambeau Stadium, and you get there and they gave away your hotel room and you're like, where are we going to stay? Give me a call and I'll see if I can put you up for the night, because it's only going to be a quick track going south to get down to the stadium to catch the game, to watch your team battle the Green Bay Packers. If you encounter that challenge, it might be on the couch, it might be on a cot, but I'll find some place for you if you're traveling all the way here to watch the football game. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. Everyone thought the Packers were going to beat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Minnesota Vikings just prevailed over the Packers. So you never know what's going to happen with injuries and all the other drama that goes on in the football realm. So, and I'm not a big diehard football fan, but because of the proximity, 25 miles away from the workshop is the mecca of NFL football for the Green Bay Packers. You catch a little bit of that, if you know what I mean. So, well, that's about it. I'll go ahead and end the live stream. And thanks for kind of tuning in. We had smoke, but thank God we had no fire today, which is always a good thing. So, goodbye to Roz. Oh, Michigan beat Ohio State yesterday, so we are still celebrating today. Hey, they're partying over in Michigan. I love it. I love it. Emma's actually done some tinkering on a tower motor before. That takes a lot of initiative, a lot of courage. They're so much more difficult to work on because of those snap rings and just the way things are pieced together than a standard Singer motor. So kudos to Emma. Great job. Who else do we have? We had Doreen and Kevin were here. If I missed anyone else, or if anybody else was here and then they stepped away, please accept my apologies. When I'm doing these live streams, I've gotten so much great feedback on them, and I upgraded my internet specifically to support the live streams. Bought a brand new laptop to support the live streams as well, because the feedback was you guys love live streams. It gives us a new level of interaction. It gives us an opportunity to experience things in absolute real time instead of kind of a pre-recorded, where we can still interact in the live chat, which is awesome, but it's not quite the same level. So I'll keep doing these. And if I get inspired, if I got a machine on the workbench and I want to show you something, I'll just show it to you. And if somehow you miss it, don't fret, because YouTube, with their wisdom, when I'm shooting a live stream, that it automatically gets recorded, and then it's there, forever for someone to watch it later if somehow they missed it or they had to step away or whatever. So that's really cool too. But yeah. So go Michigan, go Michigan. Hey, go Michigan, go Michigan, go Michigan. So, all right, y'all take care. And if you need anything, reach out. But I'm just busy in the workshop. I'm going to be presenting either through a live stream or a premiere. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to be presenting this beautiful machine across the way. You kind of see it over there on the other bench. That's the one that I stripped all the way down to bare metal, brand new paint, brand new decals. It's going to be heading to Texas. If you're still like, gosh, you have so many machines, Scott, I don't remember the story on that one. That's the one where I'm not really working for the customer. I'm working for a master woodworker down in Texas that's redoing the cabinet. It's a very ornate cabinet, and they had to do all the reworking of the wood and gluing the laminate back down. And I helped them to source some of the ornamental pieces for the drawers and all that. And so it's been kind of a tag team match going back and forth to Texas to help out Ross to get this machine finally to where it's at now. But I'll never meet the customer. That's the weird thing, right? My customer is Ross, and then he has his customer that this machine will be presented to. So it's all well and good. It's all well and good, but it's kind of a different way to do business. I love having contact with my customers. Those of you that are customers know that. I love having contact. I love getting to know you, for us to have those interactions, to get your feedback, get your input, to see your reaction and all that. And I'll never see the customer's reaction to the work that I've done to bring this back from a beast to the beauty that you can see sort of on camera right now. So that's kind of a bummer, but oh well. I'm glad to have the business. I'm glad to be able to help out Ross, and it's totally cool. So, all right, y'all take care, and if you need anything, just reach out. All right, I'm signing off. See ya. Actually, I'll sign off with some music. Let's do that. Oh, that's boring. Let's not do that one. Come on. I love that music, but all right, let's do this one. This is more fun. Here we go.